Yo, what up? It's AaroniMoses, and this is a video about the differences in Cook County Jail from the last 5 years. Now, everybody knows I just got out of jail October 11, 2018, and the last time that I had been to jail was February. Yeah, I got out. No, wait. Either January or February, I can't remember. 2011. All right. So I'm going to describe the differences that I've seen. The first thing that I saw, of course, immediately was the blankets. The blankets are a lot bigger and they're less itchy. They're a lot more comfortable. And if you're longer than freaking 5'9", you're gonna be able to cover your whole body with these blankets. The last time that I was in jail, these blankets were very little. They were only meant for short people. They were itchy, they were thin, and they just didn't do the job. Now, I can't remember if they gave you 2 sheets or not, but now they give you 2 sheets and they give you a blanket, and you can actually get warm. You can actually get warm, and it might even be warm in room temperature. You're not gonna need the blanket and the sheet to sleep, but the blankets, it was a significant change, very positive. Next, the biggest thing, actually I should save this for last, but the biggest thing was that I noticed the food. The food is actually kind of good. The food's kind of good. And they feed you a lot, and you will get full. They give you a lot of bread. They don't give you any vegetables. They don't give you any fruits anymore. They don't give you any oranges. I remember they used to give you oranges. I remember they used to give you a hot breakfast. They used to give you, pancakes sometimes. They don't give you that scrambled egg, whatever, and grits anymore. Now, sometimes they give you cereal. What did they have for breakfast? I know they give you cereal. They don't give you milk every morning anymore. They only give you milk during dinner, which is weird. And for breakfast, they gave you, I don't even remember. And that's a good thing. So they have now they have protein bars in there, and they call them yummy bars. They're called yummy snacks, and they have like 9 grams of protein, and one of them has like 12 grams of protein. They come in different flavors. Double chocolate is disgusting. They have coconut, cookie dough, and peanut butter and caramel, but they're very, very high in protein. A lot of the foods that they give you are high in protein. They still have the boiled eggs. They still have boiled eggs. I know they give you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. Oh, that's what they give you. For breakfast, they give you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or they give you jelly and butter with a yummy snack, a boiled egg. It's not even mentioned, bro. It's still like some kindergarten weird stuff, but yeah. There's a division. I can't remember what division it is, but they give you pizza. They let you order pizza off commissary, and it comes on the days that pizza comes. They let you make the pizza. It's hot. I haven't experienced it myself, but people have been telling me about it. Next, intake. Now, this might be a little bit different because I did my processing on the weekends, but I still went to some of the same bullpens. And the first time that I went to jail, when I started going to jail in 2010, 2011, it smelled like death. It smelled like death. It smelled like rotting flesh, feces, sweat, must, breath. It doesn't have that smell anymore. And the processing in, I don't know if the processing in on the weekends is a lot faster, but it only took me about 18 hours as opposed to well, I mean, a couple hours isn't that much, but it is significant. I got to my cell at around 12. Yeah, it still took me about 16 hours to get processed in, but they don't. Yeah, they take your picture. They don't write on you anymore. They don't write on you, and they don't ask you about all your tattoos anymore. Um, they still transfer. I think they transfer you to more bullpens to make it seem quicker, but they don't write on you, and they don't ask you about every tattoo that you have. Uh, Next, the out process. Going out is about 3 hours quicker, but still, from it took me 6 hours to get processed out. Last time, the other times that I've been to Cook County, it took me about 9 hours to get processed out. It's a little bit faster. Next, your shoes. Oh man, before they had these things called state babies where they're pretty much slip-on shoes. They don't have laces or anything like that. Now they give you these shoes that look like Chucks and they have Velcro. And the sizes are a lot more accurate. But they take everybody's shoes. I think it's depending on what division you in, because some people had on basketball shoes, but most people, 99% of people that I saw in there had on the Chuck Taylor looking shoes with the Velcro on them. But they're better than the state babies. They're better than the slip-ons. Next, immediately what I noticed was that the COs, the correctional officers, are not all white. They have a lot more black people working in Cook County, which is a good thing, which is definitely a good thing. They have a lot more black and Latino workers, COs, and workers in Cook County. And they use jail slang. They use jail slang, and they try to, I guess they have some kind of training system, because they all do it. They all say on the new, and they all say on them blankets, or on them sheets, or on them shoes, or on them bunks, or um, they use the jail slang to be able to relate to the inmates a lot better, which is definitely planned. And it creates more familiarity. They dap the inmates up. They interact with them a little bit more, and they're a lot more friendly. They're a lot more friendly, definitely. And I was gonna save this for last, but they tell you the time. When you ask what time it is in Cook County jail, they actually tell you. When I was in jail 5-6 years ago, they lied about the time constantly, or they would never say the exact time. They will always say 7:30 or 7 or 8:30 or 8 or 9:30 or 9. Now they tell you it's 7:36 or it's 5:42. They give you the exact time, and they don't lie about it like they used to. Now, they don't give you, of course, there's no clocks on the deck, but you can ask the CO. They're not gonna act crazy about it and talk to you like you're crazy, but they will tell you the time. Another thing that I noticed, when they search you, they don't grab your genitals. They don't search in between your legs. They search your chest. They don't touch your butt. They search, from the inner knee and down. They search from the inner knee and down. They lift up the bottom of your pant legs and look at your socks, but they don't touch anywhere in your groin area or your buttocks, which is amazing, because I got molested many times in there, because a lot of those COs were crazy and they were on some sexual predator type stuff. True. So next, phone cards. Phone cards, that is a big significance. The last time that I went to jail, you had to, the person pretty much had to pay the phone bill or pay the bill when you called them and The call was, I think, limited to 10 to 15 minutes. I can't remember exactly. Now you can buy phone cards and put money on them, and you can talk on the phone, I think, to up to an hour. I didn't buy one myself, but people were telling me you can talk to up to an hour. You can buy multiple phone cards and put money from transfer money in minutes from one phone card to the next. So a lot of people who needed to make a call who didn't have money, they would go around asking if anybody had, a minute left on a phone card, and they would do that for a couple days or a week, and they would end up being able to talk on the phone for like 15 minutes off of collecting all these phone cards. You only get, I think you only get 3 free phone calls, but when you get on the deck, you only get 1 free phone call. Okay, but back then you didn't need to have money on the phone or a phone card or anything like that. Now, people can put money on their phone. I mean, they could do that before, and it's cheaper. Where I think $20 will get you $20 will get you 3 hours, and I think $20 when you buy a phone card will only get you like two hours and 30 minutes or something like that. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't use the phone. I didn't call anybody when I was in jail. So next, oh, they have these things. They have commissary bags now. Instead of the commissary boxes, the gray boxes that you could break up and make shanks, they have commissary bags. They're these little. They're in the shape of a square. They're in the shape of a cube. They're white, and they have like a blue lining on them, and they zip up and down. But they took the boxes away because, of course, people were making weapons out of them, and they give you these commissary bags. They're very rinky-dink. A lot of people were only in jail for a couple months, and they were already ripped up and stuff like that, and they had to tie them up. But they give you commissary bags, and they took the boxes out. So next, they give you, now that I think about it, I think they already had these. They give you these court juices when you go to court, and when you go to court, they give you the little 25-cent juice bombs, that you could buy in the hood. The little, well, they sell them at Aldi's too, and I think they sell them at Jvil. But they give you these little juices, and they have a cap on them. The little plastic. They can fit in your hand, and they have the aluminum, and you poke a hole in it and drink it. But now they give you those. They have a lot of different flavors, and they're really good, and they cost $1. I think I'm gonna skip that because, okay, no, I'm gonna stay in order. So next, pens. The pens they last a lot longer. They're not so rinky-dink. The little safety pens, the flexi pens that you can write with, the ink pens, they're definitely a lot better. But the paper is worse. The paper in there that shit'll make you crazy, bro. Why? Because they're not Mead paper. I think they're either Mead or Bic before, but they're not anymore. They don't have that brown slip on the top that keeps your papers together. After about a week of you writing in that pad, each individual piece of paper is going to come out. It's going to come out because of you opening and closing the pad. It's going to come off. It doesn't have that brown piece at the top anymore, so it's going to come off. It really sucks. Next, it's a lot easier to get illegal substances in there. A lot of people were in there smoking weed. A lot of people were in there doing Xanax. A lot of people were in there smoking crack. A lot of people were in there doing cocaine, heroin. I don't know, smoking actual cigarettes. It was a lot easier for the inmates to get drugs. A lot, like 20 times easier. And they were cheap. And they were like street prices. They weren't, the weed was like still $5-10. The weed was still 3-4 times more, but the Xanax was the same price. It was still $1. It was still $2, $3, depending on what you wanted. They had Kalana pen in there. They had a lot of different muscle relaxers. It was just everybody was walking around like zombies. And this, I wasn't even in the psych ward at that point. So next, a lot of, I mean, with all this game banging and all these people on the street and in the street and getting locked up, now people are going to PC a lot more. People are telling the the intake officers that they want to go to PC because they are afraid that they are going to run into their ops because they just slid on somebody or they just did a drill and they want to go to PC. A lot more people are doing that. People were not doing that when the last time I was going to jail. And granted, it was more violent this time. This is the most violent time that I've ever experienced when I was in jail. I've seen the most fights and the most grimy stuff, just jail stuff in jail. But people were not afraid to go on deck. People were not afraid to go in GP in general population. Now people are requesting openly, and they're bragging about it. They're proud of the fact that they're going to PC because there's too many of their ops in jail, and you know, it's nobody from the hood that's in jail. So I'm about to go to PC. You know, I might be this, but that don't mean that I'm clicked up with this part of that gang. So I'm going to PC. And I'm like, bro, I mean, I'm not a gangbanger. I don't understand that mentality, and I'm okay with that. So next, the placement in jail, man. The placement in jail is a lot different actually, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more a couple times. But the jail is a lot more conscious of where they put these gang members. When I went to jail the couple last times that I did, it was very outweighed. There will be like a significant amount of vice lords and a very small amount of we'll say BDs or GDs. There would be a lot more peoples than folks, or there would be a lot more folks on the one deck than peoples. People were even telling me that there was decks where there was only Latin Kings. There was decks where there was only Vice Lords, because that's just, these people were high profile gang members. They didn't go to PC. There's nowhere to put them, and they just made sure that all the kings were on one deck for this specific situation. But now they're consciously making sure that, okay, if a vice lord goes home, we're gonna replace him with the vice lord, because we don't want the folks nation gang members to outnumber these guys. Okay, 3 Latin folks went home, we're gonna replace them with 2 BDs. And they were just making sure that these gang members were even, or if it was not even, it was only uneven by like 3 or 4. It wasn't like significant. I've been on decks where it was all stones and vice lords, and it was like 5 GDs and 2 BDs, and it was the rest of them were stones. And they would say, if you're Latin folks, you got to get off the deck. If you're a Latin king, you can't come on the deck. You got to bank yourself automatically. It's a no Latin king policy. They would be doing things like that, but it's not so heavy as much. So next, people are trading county food for commissary. Now, when I was in jail, they would devalue county food so much. Now, if you save enough, and the peanut butter they give you is like a lot. They give you a lot of peanut butter. I forgot about that. They give you these peanut butter packets that are like this big. It's about 5 grams of protein and 2 servings technically of peanut butter. They're huge. They're big. If you save 7 of those, that's $1. If you save, I think it was like 50 Kool-Aids, that's $1. But now people are trading, 3 bologna sandwiches for commissary food, and that never happened when I was in jail. Never. They would never trade you state food for commissary unless it was 100 Kool-Aids for $1. You know, now they're trading 4 bologna sandwiches for $1, or I think it's like 12 jellies for $1, 7 peanut butters for $1, 6 eggs for $1. It was, they were, but that's still significant though. If you think about it, you can go in there broke and all you have to do is save up all your peanut butters, and then, you know, you get a noodle, and then you can gamble that, and then you get, you know, 2 Snickers, and you have your noodle, and then you can come up just off of state food. Now the rules have changed where they are now valuing state food. So next, the shower water is a lot more consistent. The showers, every time I was in there, except for one day we had some technical difficulties, the shower was hot. And it wasn't too hot where you couldn't even take a shower and you had to just put your hand in and wash your body and then rinse off with the towel. No, the shower was tolerably hot, and you can adjust the shower head like you're at the crib. You can adjust it so it's a mist, or it's a massage shower, or it's a normal shower. So if it was too hot, all you have to do is, you know, turn it to the left a little bit, and the pressure would go down, which would make the shower cooler. Or if the shower wasn't hot enough, all you had to do was adjust the knob. All you had to do was adjust the shower head, and it would get hotter. I was like, what is this? Is this some Hilton stuff? This is a hotel? So next, oh bro, they're putting high risk inmates in minimum. Bro, they're putting, before, I always told people, I don't know why, every time they put me in jail, they always put me with rapists and murderers. Like, they put me with the worst of the worst. But now, their placement, I'm just going to talk about it right now, because I have more notes pertaining to the placement. Now their placement is just reckless. Now they just don't care at all. They're putting schizophrenic people in minimum on accident that's supposed to be medicated. They're putting rapists and kidnappers in with people who have just like simple DUIs or simple batteries or retail theft. They're putting rapists and murderers and people with like double bodies with 2 homicides on accident with people who have misdemeanors. They're putting people who's going to be in prison for 20 years and who have been in and out of prison their whole lives. Prison, not jail. They're putting high-profile gang members accidentally, people with bodies accidentally, in minimum. They're putting people who have misdemeanors in medium and max on accident. A lot more. They didn't do that when I was in jail the last time. Just think about it like, bro, think about this. If you went in there for a domestic battery, or you went in there, domestic violence, if you went in there for something like a small DUI and they accidentally put you with murderers and serial killers and rapists and child molesters on accident, think about that. That will mess you up for the rest of your life. I like that lighting over there, so I think I'm gonna stay over there. But yeah, they were accidentally placing people a lot. They were putting like people who have never been to jail before. See, if you've never been to jail, you don't know. They're supposed to question you. They're supposed to make sure that you are mentally healthy, that you don't feel like killing yourself. They have to make sure that, you know, if you've been to prison a specific amount of times, if you have violent cases, if you have domestic violence, they have to place you with other people who can handle your presence. They have to make sure that you're not gonna prey on anybody. They have to make sure that you're not gonna be a threat or a danger to anybody, depending on your record, depending on your paperwork. But they were not doing that properly. They were putting people in there that were obviously schizophrenic. That people were telling me that they were Jesus. Well, actually, I'm not Jesus this time. I think I'm gonna decide to be God. But they were very serious. They were very sick people, and they were putting retarded people in there, and guys with terminal illnesses, cancer, and MS, and fibromyalgia. They were putting, you know, drug addicts in there on accident. That were withdrawing, that was supposed to be on medication, and it was just a circus. It was a circus because they were misplacing these people, and it was not good, not good at all. People were coming there, yeah, I got 2 bodies, and I'm like, you got 2 bodies, nigga. And I look at their paperwork, and I'm like, oh, what? Why are you here? And then they would come and get the person like 2 or 3 days later, like, yeah, you're not supposed to be over here. I'm like, how did you do that? How did you accidentally put somebody who has murders, who allegedly murdered somebody, who's gonna be in prison, who doesn't care, who has 2 attempted murders, somebody who is in here for kidnapping with us? How did you do that? Okay, so next, I already made a whole video about this, but when you go to jail in Cook County now, instead of them just putting you, they put out, last time I was in jail, you know, it was very Cook County jail is usually overpopulated, but the last time they were overpopulated, they put us in Division 4 with the women, but they put us on an empty deck. There was nobody in there. So they took us, I think it wasn't even a full deck, it was like 30 of us. They took us all to the women's division, and they put us somewhere where there was no inmates. Now they don't do that. Now they put you in Division 10, which is, I still haven't looked it up because I just didn't. I don't know if it's medium or it's max, but it's the psych ward. Okay, they kept me in there they kept me in my cell with somebody who had not been sentenced yet, and he was already in there for 2 months. My cellie's name was Chino. He was already in Division 10 in the psych ward for 2 months. He was not medicated or anything like that. They just kept him there because he happened to get there on the weekends. On the weekend, he never got sentenced. So they kept him there. He was in the cell for 21, and he came out for 3. The 3 hours that him and I were outside of that cell was the 3 hours when these inmates were the most heavily medicated, in the morning and right before dinner tray. That is very inhumane, and the only reason they transferred me was because I got sentenced. Because I went to court and I got sentenced. He kept getting continuances. He never got sentenced. And then when they transferred me, they almost accidentally transferred me to a high gangbanging level area, accidentally. And the CO was like, yeah, you're going to Division 6. And I was like, Division 6? Really? Okay. And he was like, wait a minute, what case do you have? I was like, I have a DUI. I have a probation violation. And he was like, that's all? And he was like, have you ever been to prison before? And I was like, no. And he was like, do you have anything violent on your record? And I was like, no. And he was like, I'm gonna take you back to processing, bro, because you shouldn't be on this deck unless you're like a murderer or a freaking serial killer or something like that. And I was like, oh, really? And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna take you back to NDR. And he made sure that I was reprocessed because they made a mistake. And I wasn't supposed to be in that division, and they almost put me in there. Again, I already been there before, but that was when I was 19. I've already been there before. And he had the power as a CEO to make sure I wasn't going on that deck, which was amazing. Because I definitely should not have been there. Not that time. But, So yeah, the biggest thing that's a problem that's different is that they're misprocessing people. They're putting them in the wrong place. That's a big problem, a huge problem. It's life or death, and I don't know how many inmates die in Cook County annually, but I'm pretty sure that if they do, it's because of that. It's because of the misprocessing, because you're putting people who have never been in jail with people who have double lives. Or you know, another big thing was they were bringing people from prison, putting them in minimum that had 20 years. Literally, I was in jail with somebody who had just came from prison. They took him from prison and they put him on the deck. He had, I think, 15 years. They gave him 24 when he was 19, and he already did 7. So, I mean, the whole thing with that is he was supposed to get his case re-evaluated or reheard or whatever the heck, but still, he could have been violent and a predator. Now, luckily, he wasn't, but there were other people in different situations. It was a dude who was trying to get his case reheard that was in max for murders, that was on a deck that he shouldn't have been on. Just me because I had to go to court with him. That's how I know. Just me interacting with him for the small amount of time that I did, I was like, bro, they misplaced you, bro. You're gonna end up hurting somebody. Somebody's life is gonna change because of you. Okay, so next we have, I already said they don't take your tattoo. They let you wear piercings in Cook County Jail now. They let you keep your gauges in. They let you wear a little. They don't let you wear jewelry around your neck. But there was people in there with rings that were not wedding rings. There were people in there with earrings. There were people in there with gauges, and there were people in there with I don't remember what those are called. Piercings where they pierce this part of your ear, and that's a big difference. People in there, and I know people told me in prison you're allowed to wear religious jewelry, necklaces, and wedding rings, but it wasn't. They were a lot more lenient with jewelry in there, with the exception of necklaces. Next, when you go to jail, they give you tissue, a toothbrush, toothpaste, a face towel, and a body towel. But they don't give you deodorant anymore. When I was in jail last time, they gave you deodorant in Cook County. They don't give you that. Now you have to buy deodorant, and it's like $4, but it works. It works.